When we're young, most people find themselves watching popular and trending summer movies that feature pirates, treasure hunting, grand adventures and endless exploration, in the hopes of uncovering great secrets and untold riches. However, what most people don't know is that there's treasure and hidden secrets all around us, and these finds are usually made when we least expect it. Several years ago, an interesting discovery was made inside the woods in Russia. During an archaeological dig, historians discovered a locked box encased in mud. Due to the look of the box and how far they had to dig down, the archaeologists knew that whatever was inside had to have been under there for several decades. When they originally pulled it out of the earth, there was so much dirt around it that they had no idea what was inside. When they finally got the box open, they realized that the items were of historical importance, and that they belonged inside a museum. The box contained various artifacts dating back to Nazi Germany, with the archaeologists saying they knew this was what they were looking at because there was a German Reichsmark, which was a form of currency used between 1924 and 1948, and there was also a card that identified the individual to that specific party. The box was like a time capsule, and one that made the archaeologists feel a bit uneasy. After taking out and inspecting all the items, it was made obvious that this belonged to a soldier who was fighting for Germany. As the archaeologists looked through the box, they discovered various different items, including newspaper clippings, shoes and pieces of clothing. Interestingly, when the archaeologists took out the newspaper clippings, they said they was in great condition, and were quite surprised that they hadn't been damaged by the weather. Another incredible find was that of a box of cigars that was in great condition, with the researchers saying that these hadn't been touched and that they was in their original wrapping. The archaeologists said though that the discovery made them feel various emotions as a second box was discovered, and it's likely that the soldier was saving them in the hopes of celebrating in the event of a victory. The next thing they pulled out was 2 bottles of Jamaican rum. One thing the archaeologists did say was that there was nothing to indicate what happened to the soldier. Same as the box of cigars, the rum was unopened. Various other items were found inside the box which linked them to that particular party, including things like jackets and a cap. There was even an identification tag found within the box, but as mentioned, the archaeologists said they have no idea about what happened to the soldier. Another interesting discovery was made by a man who was helping to clean out his granddad's attic. As he was moving things out the way, he came across an old-looking chest. The first thing he noticed was the chest had Japanese characters on it, and after doing some research, he discovered that the box said Damage Control Gas Aid Kit. He was interested to learn more, and so shared some photographs online in the hopes that people could get him some more information on what he found. Various people who were interested in World War II were quick to let him know what an amazing find the box was, and that this was an item that doesn't come up very often. One person said the following: "That there is one hell of a find. It's a Japanese squad level field medical kit from 1939. These cases were designed to be air and watertight when sealed, hence why everything shows very little signs of aging." End quote. Additional writing on the chest indicated that the box was made during the rule of Emperor Hirohito, who reigned over Japan from 1926 until 1989. The man soon started to unpack the box, excited to see what was inside. Various bottles of pills and other supplies made up the bulk of items found inside the box. He then found a large container and once again turned to the internet in the hopes of finding out what was inside, but it turned out it was just some harmless sugar water. The most interesting discovery though came in the form of another box, and after showing a friend they were able to translate the writing. They said it translated to adrenaline, novocaine, atropine. Chillingly, these would have been used to treat the devastating effects of nerve gas. It's these types of discoveries that show us that sometimes we don't have to look far to find priceless artifacts. historical artifacts are some of the most interesting finds out there. While gold and other minerals can bring you riches, when you hold a soldier's uniform or something of historical importance, these things have memories attached to them, and when you imagine yourself in that person's position, it can bring about various emotions. The advancement of science and history and expansion of our knowledge of the Earth gives us a more comprehensive view of our world than ever before. Things like Lidar technology has allowed archaeologists and researchers to map areas that they can't see. This technology has been used in dense jungle regions in order to help researchers see if there's any structures underneath it, and incredibly back in 2018, over 60,000 Maya ruins were uncovered in Guatemala while using this tech. Lidar imagery is a new tool that spots archaeological points of interest that would otherwise be invisible to humans. Using remote sensing technology, Lidar uses beams of lasers pointed at the ground to create an image map of the area's surface. The beams then bounce back and the wavelengths are measured, giving an accurate picture of what lies below. The find in Guatemala has made historians completely rethink what they thought of the Mayan people. Observing the thousands upon thousands of ruins, it could be possible that this civilization population was 3 to 4 times bigger than we once believed. Mr. Estrada Belli, an archaeologist working in the region, said the following: "With this new data, it's no longer unreasonable to think there were 10 to 15 million people there, including many living in low-lying swampy areas that many of us had thought uninhabitable." End quote. One man has claimed that he's just discovered a mysterious staircase in Antarctica. Theorists are convinced that we're not being told the truth about Antarctica, and that over the years governments and other officials have travelled to Antarctica to carry out tests, and even say that some of these tests are being carried out right now. These photographs were sent to me a few months back, and they show what appeared to be a large staircase, with the researcher who found it going on to say they discovered other strange anomalies in Antarctica. Google Earth allows anyone to view the world's most remote places from the comfort of their home. Although it's tough to find these strange anomalies, those who have spent countless hours on the app have said they do show up. You just need to be patient and consistent with your research. Once these anomalies get shared, it creates an interesting discussion about what they could be, with some amateur researchers saying that these discoveries back up their theories that there's tests going on in these remote regions, and that more study is needed to get to the bottom of what's going on. The man said the following in his email: "I am someone who spends an unhealthy amount of time looking through Google Earth, but it's not without success. I've spent years on this app and it's likely that you've seen some of my other discoveries, but I'm sending you this strange image of what appears to be a staircase. There were 2 of them really close together, a thin staircase and a much wider one. I believe that the government is in possession of cloak technology, and that they are using this in Antarctica to cover up their findings. I'm not sure what they found in this region, but it's enough for them to send military tech there. Something you should notice that this discovery wasn't even hard to find. I was only searching an area for around 20 minutes before I stumbled across these 2 discoveries. It was only from certain angles that the stairs would appear, almost as if the light was hitting them from different angles that made them appear. I'm definitely not the only one that's made interesting discoveries in this region, as others have presented interesting images of strange-looking structures. The next question is, why are they sending military tech to an alleged wasteland? According to them, there's nothing here but snow and ice, yet we have photographs of what look like large equipment scattered across Antarctica. There's something going on here and we're being kept in the dark about it. I've also found large structures that appear to have beams of light coming out of them, and the first thing my mind went to was energy weapons. Direct energy weapons are a thing, and it's certainly not new technology. Our governments have been in possession of this for a while now. One thing I've noticed though is that when I find these discoveries, they don't stay on Google Earth for long. Normally what happens is when I go back to the same spot a few days later, they've either been removed or Google has blurred them out so you can't see them anymore. The question here is, why would they do this if there's nothing to hide? If these are just anomalies or reflections, why go through the effort of blurring them out? End quote. I'm not sure if these images have been shared to other people, but I haven't been able to find them anywhere else. From first looking at them, they do appear to show what look like stairs, but one of the problems with these types of images is that officials pretty much always overlook them, saying that they are caused by natural phenomena, pareidolia, or just camera anomalies. However, this doesn't explain that when these images are shared around, the area where they were originally found gets blurred out. This isn't the only strange discovery that's been made in Antarctica. Various UFO sites have claimed that a UFO crashed into the Antarctic snow, and that it can be seen surrounded by tanks. When the photographs were shared, people started to give their opinions on what they thought the object was. Some claim that the object in the snow is different to the tanks that can be seen next to it, and that it does look like the tanks were sent there to investigate what's going on. The object looks to be disc in shape, and one thing that's confused those who've seen the images is the presence of the tanks, with some saying that if the tanks weren't there, this could be ruled out as perhaps a piece of snow or ice, but due to them being there, it adds an air of mystery. Some went on to say that at the end of the skid you can see an unidentified flying object, and that again it does look to be disc in shape. For years there's been rumours that UFOs have been discovered embedded in the ice at Antarctica, and that this is one of the reasons why there's a lot of activity going on down there. UFO researchers have gone on to say that the high military presence here comes down to there being a lot of UFO sightings in the area, saying that bases were built purely to investigate these sorts of claims. As of right now though, the government has never admitted to finding UFOs in Antarctica, and say that any claims of there being UFOs in this region is just stories. When people zoomed in on the supposed tanks though, some noted that you couldn't see any tire tracks in the snow, and said that due to their weight you would easily be able to see tracks. However, UFO researchers hit back at these claims, and said that a small snowstorm could have easily covered them up, saying that it would only take a few hours for the tracks to be hidden underneath a new batch of snow. One UFO researcher said the following about the objects: "I think that it measures at least 200 feet in diameter. It could be even more looking at it compared to the tanks. There's a reason why those tanks are there, and I think they're collecting this UFO. We've heard many stories about governments being interested in these crafts, and I think this is one of those cases where we're seeing a real downed UFO." End quote. So what do you make of these interesting photographs taken in Antarctica? Do you think they show giant staircases? Or do you think they're just camera anomalies? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.